Esteemed audience, for every yin, there's a yang.
For every statement, there's a debate.
Indeed, welcome to the Great Debaters Contest, home of debates, and we are in Nairobi region, which is the original home of debates in high school. I am your host, Esperancia Kapanga.
And I am Chris Buru. The motion being debated today in the battle for the greater debater is: drug traffickers should be sentenced and all proceeds acquired from the trade confiscated by the state.
In the proposition, we have our host school, Starehe Boys Center.
And in the opposition, we have Riara School. Proposal number 1, you have 3 minutes to make a statement.
Avoiding a problem does not eventually solve the problem. Dealing with drug traffickers is the ultimate way of killing the illegal drug trade. My name is Chut Dao, and I am from Starehe Boys Center. Today's motion reads: drug traffickers should be sentenced and all proceeds accrued from the trade should be confiscated by the state. To begin with, drug traffickers are people involved in the illegal drug trade. They distribute and they sell the drugs on large scale. To sentence means to declare punishment. It could be by jailing, life imprisonment, heavy fining, or even death sentences. Proceeds is money and property acquired from the drug trade. Confiscation refers to the judicial order that results to the deprivation of assets. The motion simply means the government should take down the managers of drug trade and destroy their companies financially, policy-wise, and eventually this will result to the killing of the illegal drug trade in our society. To begin with, how will the government confiscate these assets? The government should strengthen the judicial system. It should put in place personal audits that will establish that indeed this property resulted from drug profits. How will they be sentenced? The government should set up maximum prisons, securely guarded, to ensure that these drug dealers do not escape from prison. This has worked in most of the countries, and particularly in the USA, in Louisiana State, where the state constitution, Article 40, Section 1041, declares a jail term of not less than 10 years on people who take part in the illegal drug trade. This has worked, and this is the ultimate way will solve the illegal drug trade. This is the how. Strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. Deal with the drug traffickers and you'll have eliminated these people, disrupted their business, and eventually reduced drug access in the market. This has happened in Mexico. When Pablo Escobar died, there was a great reduction of 45% in crime rates that resulted from drug trade. This was published by the United Nations Office on Drug and Crime in 2010. Drug trade erodes the moral culture, the moral aspect of no pain, no gain. What's the eventual reason why people involve themselves in the illegal drug trade? They want to gain money, quick access to money. Confiscate this property and you'll have done away with this moral attitude. You'll have eliminated the zeal that leads to people taking part in the illegal drug trade. Eventually, an opposition to this motion is an opposition against humanity. Thank you.
First proposal, you have 3 minutes to present your case.
I would like to thank my opponent for giving clear definition of terms, which I agree with. But I do beg to differ with the fallacy that is, drug traffickers should be sentenced and all proceeds accrued from the trade confiscated by the state. As he mentioned, a sentence could even mean death. It's not only being put behind bars for weeks, days, or even a year. It could mean death. Death is not just a casual topic. This is the loss of human lives. Now, as he put it, these people are looking for a way to gain easy money. Majority of the people taking part in this drug trafficking activities are people who are within or and below the poverty line. People who have no hope of achieving anything in life due to the circumstances that they are constantly faced with. These people lack skill and knowledge. Therefore, they would look for a job that requires none of those in order for them to satisfy their human needs. Them being humans, they do need to provide for their families or for themselves. So tell me, when these drug barons, the kingpins of the drug world, approach them, they know they are an easy target. They lure them into this business. They offer them so much that the trade looks lucrative to them. They cannot decline the offer. And so what happens once they accept the offer? They are held captive. They become slaves to the drug world. The drug world, just like quicksand, is not that easy to get out of. The target of most of these drug traffickers are the youth. And I want you to know that drug traffickers are not the kingpins nor the drug lords. They are reputable people. The drug lords are reputable people. The drug traffickers are the middlemen, the small fish. In this case, the youth I am talking about. They have been targeted. And you say that the government should confiscate proceeds from this trade. Why would the government sit on their laurels and wait for proceeds from such a dirty business? Why? Is this in the state plan? Did they plan to use drug trafficking proceeds? This is dirty business. The proceeds could be in form of hard cash or real estate investments. I know the second proposer will come and argue that these proceeds could be used to build rehabilitation centers. But is that the only way, the only source of investment and money that the state government can get? As states in the world, why are we still at a point where we talk of drug trafficking? That should be long gone. That ought to be history. Why do we still want to talk about eradicating something that could be dealt with? Our advocation is for the government to probe deeper into the situation. What we're looking at is just but the surface. You arrest the middlemen, you sentence them, and you're only dealing with the surface. You are only dealing with people who are passengers of the drug trafficking. You are not getting hold of the drug barons. We are advocating for you to get hold of the drug barons because you know that these people you are sentencing are potential workers of a state, potential people to raise the GDP of a state. So I rest my case by saying we do not want this to be a barrier to SDG number 9, which is industry, innovation, and infrastructure. My name is Natalie Awar, and debating, well, that is my game, the Riara Springs Girls High School.
Second proposal, you have 3 minutes for cross-examination.
My, oh my, drug syndicates, drug traffickers, cartels, etc. My dad has always taught me one great lesson. Let me share with you. The biggest achievement in life is to make it to the devil's most wanted list. And if I'm to support sentencing of drug traffickers, for me to do that, then I'll do exactly that. My name is Ian Tingo, Starehe Boys Center. World Drug Report, April 2014, as by the Daily Nation. An Australian ship bringing in heroin was captured by the Kenyan police. What did they do? President Uhuru ordered its explosion. Why? Because it was confiscated. This prevented many more youth from getting access into this, leading to their health deteriorating. This is the world I want. Well, debating might be your game, but trust me, there were too many red cards. You may call me the game changer. I happen to be a sad man today. Why? Executions are part of sentences. This is what we want. We need to get them out of our world. Drug traffickers might be small fish, but remember, ecology. I do away with the small fish, the big fish won't have nothing to eat. At the end of it all, good, the entire drug trafficking system is brought down. This is the world I want again. It is very good that you know what I wanted to speak on, rehabilitation centers. Kenya lacks a base area to build of this. This is why we will confiscate the proceeds that have accrued over time and use it to build rehabilitation centers because right now we are suffering. The question we should ask ourselves today is how this trickles down to stopping drug trafficking. How does it? Through sentencing, it acts as a correctional center. You're not going there to take the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. You're not going to a hotel. So the future, ladies and gentlemen, expect a Pope El Chapo or a Pope Escobar, if you may so wish. It will fund the war on drugs, as I said, rehabilitation centers. Many youth are suffering right now. The drug traffickers are poisoning our economy. That's why we should sentence them. It is a punishment to drug traffickers, good old punishment. Pay back to the society that they have suffered. Now, we need to act boldly and conclusively. The state will bring down, the employer will bring down the main machine handling all of this. This will have adverse effects. I bring down the machine part of it, there's nothing to run it. We bring the entire system down. One thing I've learned from elephants and buffaloes is that you can never lose weight by simply taking long walks and eating salads. Let's look at the bigger picture. We can never solve a problem with the same thinking we used when creating them. Thank you.
Second opposal, you have 3 minutes for cross-examination.
The irony. It's really funny, don't you think? Your first speaker talked about how his very first sentence was that avoiding a problem is not solving a problem. You are contradicting yourself because you are proposing that drug traffickers should be sentenced. This is reactive. It's not prescriptive. You are not curbing the problem. It's really funny how honorable debaters are given the opportunity to defend their opinion, and yet they come and play a game of puns. But I am here, Kabando Roslyn Washara from the Riara Springs Girls High School, ready to oppose the motion that states drug traffickers should be sentenced and profits acquired from the trade should be confiscated by the state. We as Kenyans contradict ourselves to our borders. Let's take a walk. Mexico. According to a United Nations article, Mexico is able to account for roughly over $991 million per year, drug money alone. The drug industry in Mexico contributes so much revenue to the government that it raises a set of crucial questions about the rationale and efficiency of Mexico's state efforts to stamp out the trade. But if we shall be honest and place all cards on the table, every country is trying to see a new sunrise. Every country is trying to make ends meet. Now, what happens when the biggest contributors of revenue in a state have been sentenced? One, plummeting in the amount of revenue that's collected, revenue that is used in construction of public institutions, state institutions, provision of water and electricity, things that are needed to operate any institution like a school or a hospital. This is simply unacceptable. Let's talk about the Sinaloa cartel in Mexico. The Sinaloa cartel used United States drug proceeds to purchase clothes imported from China that was stored in fashion business warehouses. Now, I am aware that these clothes were not made available to average citizens. In fact, these clothes were later transported to high-end fashion business warehouses. But let's just step back and think. Isn't this better? Can't we be happy that this money has not fallen into the pockets of state officials who will later get to the streets to preach to us about hope? Do not tell me about hope. State officials are squandering money that can be used in development of education, health. Pablo Escobar, one of the probably greatest drug dealers that ever lived. Part of the world sees him as a wicked man, a narco-terrorist. But the whole of Colombia sees him as a hero. Why? Because he was able to provide education services. He was able to provide health services. He constructed hospitals. Things that the government has proven very incapable of providing. So now tell me, you want to sentence the only people who are able to contribute revenue to a country, basically keep the country going. Let's think about that. Thank you.
The proposers have been asked, how do they expect drug trafficking to stop if states around the world fail in their responsibility to provide employment and other means of making a living to their citizens? The opposers, on the other hand, have been asked, does the end justify the means? Do the benefits that the countries get from drug traffickers override the negative effects that drugs have on the drug users? Proposer number 3, you have 3 minutes to respond.
Len Kiprotich, Starehe Boys Center. There comes a time when you hear a siren call, when the world must come together as one to arrest drug traffickers and confiscate all the proceeds accrued. To begin with the questions. Yes, we have employment opportunities. This is the 21st century, and that is why our government is adapting a new education system to bring in talent so that you can employ yourself, you can use a talent to earn a living. Imagine someone kills you, comes to pay your funeral contributions, your funeral expenses. Is that good? Whether Pablo developed education in his country, then he is still not good because it does not justify his former life. Let's think about this. These people, yes, the drug traffickers, they should be sentenced. Look at Mr. Guzman, the leader of the Sinaloa drug syndicate in Mexico. He was imprisoned in 2016, but the government did not confiscate his proceeds. And how many days later he escapes out of the prison in a 1.7 kilometer tunnel with a train into his prison cell? If we had confiscated these proceeds from his drug empire, do you think he could have get funds to fund the people who came and smuggled him out of prisons? Mexico is getting lots of money from this drug trade, yes. But imagine, what if this money did not belong to these drug traffickers and it belonged to the government? Let us confiscate this money, yes. We are going to use this money not to educate you people, but to strengthen our law enforcement agencies. Aren't we fighting drugs? Aren't we fighting drug trafficking? And to my first point, sentencing of these people to jail prevents operational disruption. It gives time for law enforcement to investigate into this matter and come to the bottom of it. Ladies and gentlemen here today, look at the person next to you. Will you rather that person, God forsake, that person was not here with you because maybe he died because of drugs? Judges, look at your children. Teachers, look at your students. Because of one man, which will you prefer? Killing 10,000 students out there, 10,000 children out there, 10,000 citizens out there, or this one man? Make a choice. I'll give you statistics about Hong Kong. In Hong Kong, we have more milk formula smugglers than drug traffickers. Why? Because Hong Kong, as per the South China Morning Post, it has death sentences on all these people. China has achieved it. Yes. What if we do so? We can be somewhere. Now, in the end, we will remember the chances we didn't take. And I know at the end of this, opposition will be opposing humanity. Thank you.
Third opposer, you have 3 minutes to respond to your question.
Taking part in this debate with a team that continues to propose such an emotive motion has left me heartbroken. And I could tear myself into 1,000 pieces only to oppose the motion that drug traffickers should be sentenced and the proceedings accrued confiscated by the state. And Joseph, I didn't forget about your question. Yes, the good cannot override the bad, but is sentencing these people really the right way to go about this? In Mexico, as per AlJazeera.com, there are over 35 cartels in this country. Now, this country started a drug war long before 2010, where they have arrested drug lords year in, year out. Yet, Mexico still counts to be one of the countries that are highest in drug trade. Why? Is the government really curbing this problem? We are not trying to stagnate, we are trying to fix it. Why can't the government eliminate drug trade altogether? Why would we wait for filthy proceeds from a filthy trade? Why not educate people on the negative effects of this abuse? For instance, we could start campaigns where people could be educated on the negative effects of using drugs, not just waiting for these proceeds. And by the way, by the government taking this money, isn't that contributing to money laundering? Isn't it? And I believe that if the government, if the state continues confiscating this money, yes, they're gonna arrest this, they're gonna sentence these drug traffickers, and it's gonna be stagnation. It's not gonna be progress because we are not curbing the problem. In Mexico, there are still cartels after all this. They are not curbing the problem. They are simply stagnating, not progressing, not retarding. And if we continue, our hopes of achieving SDG number 12, responsible consumption and production, will be achieved by 2030 is possibly null and vain. Monica Oweru from the Riara Springs, proposing the motion.
Proposers, you have 1 minute to make a final submission.
As the government side, we have done more than empowering. We have put it in your chemistry books, book 1. In a nervous system, anything that affects the axon affects the entire system. You deprive it of its energy. If there's any cell trying to survive, everything goes down. You remove the drug syndicates, you remove the drug traffickers from the environment, we have brought it all down. And ladies and gentlemen, one saying has always led me: if you're given a coffee cup to wash, wash it like it has never been washed before. Well, we have been your coffee cup washers for the day. Now guess this. We brought to you why we should confiscate these proceeds that have accrued over time. We have removed these drug traffickers from your environment. We have shown the adverse effects that it will have in our environment. And now I think it's time that we put our coffee cup to dry out, because guess what? We all need some coffee, right? Thank you.
Opposers, you have 1 minute to make a final submission.
It is not by sentencing small fish and waiting to pounce on the proceeds that will help deal with this problem. Actions that have permanent solutions are prescriptive and not reactive. I hope you've taken that down. Now, I believe that there's a government official here, but if there isn't, I would like to ask that the organizers of this event help me spread this message to the state that it is by sound policies and not knee-jerk reactions that will solve this problem. Case closed. Kabando Washera from the Riara Springs Girls High School.
Natalie Owol, you are combust, and that combustion made you introduce your motion quite well, and that was very good of you. You mentioned SDG number 9, meaning there is some research on what you people were supposed to talk about. Washera, you are awesome. Here on the bench, we have agreed that you are really sure of what you are saying. You have free use of language, and that is quite good. You've done powerful rebuttals, and you are not struggling. It means the motion, you've looked at it from 3 perspectives, and to us, that was quite good. Monica Waweru, you have tried to answer the question quite well, but in my opinion, you could have done slightly better to match up to your colleagues, so that at least your team manages to hit the mark that we are looking for. To Starehe boys, Chutdau, that was a very powerful introduction, and I liked your statement, strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. That is very good in this kind of motion, because the drug users will have nowhere to get the drugs if you have dealt with the traffic, and that was quite good. You are a powerful speaker. You can do much better even in the future. I imagine seeing you in the Senate. We have Ian Tingo. You have done a powerful rebuttal. Actually, there is evidence that you people were listening. Because when I listened to you, you actually had to say something about what the other team said, and you are quite humorous. That was quite good. The elephant and the salad story left me in stitches. Len Kiprotich, thank you. It means you are really current. When you talk about this CBC, this competence-based curriculum, which is trying to address the problem when we have to use talents, I think you people have done quite good research. And the rhetorical questions that you are asking are leaving the audience wondering, surely, if we go this way, then we are likely to be solving the problem. Or these other questions you are asking, is that really the answer? And that is quite good. Your use of examples on Mexico, Hong Kong, that was quite good. Starehe, thank you. Riara, congratulations.
To the results. Our host school, Starehe Boys. The judges saw it fit to award you a whopping 72.3%. Let's give them a round of applause. Riara School, you earned yourself 70%, making Starehe the winners of this debate. Congratulations to both schools for giving us a very fiery debate.
Remember, ladies and gentlemen, the debate does not end here. The conversation still continues across our social media platforms with the hashtag GDC for SDGs. I've been your host, Chris Boru.
And I am Esperancia Kapanga. See you in the next episode.